We got the Crockett Cup coming to town this weekend. Smashing Pumpkins in September. So we bring to you the Smashing Pumpkins lead singer and NWA owner and the man who Corey calls by his full name every single time. It is Billy Corgan. Good afternoon, sir.
Hey, fellas. Good to talk to you.
I'm excited to have you on the show. My co-host is off the charts excited, and I think a little nervous that he's going to mess up this interview.
A little bit.
No, I have full confidence in him.
Okay, all right. Do you want me to start? Do I start?
I believe he just said he has full confidence in you. You go.
Okay, I this is where my first question is. December 96, you guys play Reunion Arena in Dallas, an awesome show. It was pretty cool, and I really loved it a lot. No, but seriously,
it's not a question.
The question part of it is whenever, for us, that arena has lots of memories, lots of history, Mavs, Stars, and everything. And you're a big sports fan. I was kind of curious, when you're looking at venues to go play, do you say, oh my gosh, Ryan Sandberg turned double plays right here, and I'm playing at this spot? Is there something historic you're looking for with venues sometimes?
Always, yeah. I mean, it's one of the great honors of our life to play these historic venues, and we're not lacking in the consciousness that when we're standing at the United Center in Chicago, we're standing under those 6 banners that Michael hung, with those great teams. And certainly anytime we come into an arena, we're very mindful of the fact of the great history that goes there. And it's cool. It's hard to explain. I'm at a loss for words, but one time we played the Maple Leaf Gardens, when the old building, and I'm telling you, when you were in that building, you know what I mean? You're standing there with that history. And I'm not the biggest hockey fan, but I was in awe. We played the old Boston Celtic venue
with no air conditioning.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the Boston ones. The Boston one's the one that had literally no air conditioning at all, right?
I'm almost positive we played it before they went to is it the TD Garden now or something?
Yeah.
But we played it way back in the day. We played the original building. So yeah, it's always a cool thing. And certainly Dallas, incredible sports history.
And now y'all are bringing the wrestling history to the DFW Metroplex. Forney on Saturday, the Crockett Cup. And for people who don't know wrestling, I'll give you a pass. But for people who do, Crockett Cup's been rocking since 1986. What does this event mean? And can you tell us anything else about the show?
Well, it was originally run by the Crockett family, which was one of the NWA territories in the Carolinas. And it went on for a couple years. The Road Warriors won one year, and I can't think who else won the other year. And then the company went out of business. It was bought by the McMahons and WWF. And it eventually, or Ted Turner maybe, and then became WCW. So they stopped running the Crockett. So when I bought the NWA, let's bring back the Crockett Cup itself, which is the most prestigious tag tournament in the history of all of professional wrestling. So imagine tag teams going at it for a single prize, the Crockett Cup. And I'm telling you, it means a lot to the talent to win the Crockett Cup. So it's a big, big deal. Now, all the history is, of course, on the southeast coast. But the idea to bring it to a former NWA stronghold, of course, with the Von Erichs and the great shows down there, we thought it'd be cool to bring Crockett Cup in the new NWA to Dallas.
Do you think it could be like the Stanley Cup at all, where you get to spend some time with the Crockett Cup,
recording in progress,
drink out of it, maybe have fun shenanigans and everything with it?
We've had some boys drink some beers out of the cup. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a thing. I actually own the original Crockett Cup. We have a new version of the Crockett Cup, but it's very much like the Stanley Cup. The history that it represents, going back to the '80s with those great teams. It was Nikita Koloff, I think, another one of the ones. It just came back to me somewhere in my brain. Yeah, but the great thing about the NWA is it's great. It's 75 plus years of history, right? We're almost at 76. Continuous history with the belts. But the cool thing is I get to pick the tradition back up, maybe things that have lapsed away, and sort of bring it back. So bringing that cup to Dallas on Saturday night for the show, it's going to be really awesome. I'm flying on Friday, and I always love being in Dallas. I've always had a great time going back to our earliest shows, playing down in Deep Ellum. So we really look forward to people coming down and having a good time with us. We put on a great show. If you don't like professional wrestling, we get that, but I can tell you we're very much a family entertainment brand. So if you're only a casual fan or you like the old school NWA, we are definitely for you.
Do you feel like you guys have made a lot of progress in finding your space, finding your, I don't know if niche is the right word or not, because people might automatically think WWE or maybe they think AEW, but do you feel like you guys have found a good spot for what it is that y'all do?
Absolutely. WWE is very much, they do their thing and they do it better than anybody's ever done it. But they have very specific ways of running their product, which is totally fine. I respect it. AEW is certainly the upstart league. It's very focused at what is very much, in terms of world culture, a niche culture. You know what I mean? You have to really be into wrestling to really understand what AEW is trying to do. And there's no slight in that. So what we're doing is we're bringing back that very much that mainstream, anybody from a kid to grandma can watch it, totally understand the product. And we are certainly probably the toughest promotion out there physically. Got a lot of big boys and big girls in the back, and we fight hard. So I think that's the niche that we found for ourselves. It may sound a little bit boring in the sense that we're up the middle, but wrestling needs a middle.
Yeah.
It's like saying you don't like classic rock or something. You know, I mean, we are the classic rock of wrestling at this point, and I'm very comfortable with that.
Billy Corgan joining us here on the K&C Masterpiece on 105.3 The Fan. I think it's interesting what you're doing with Adventures in Carneyland, kind of showing all the different areas of you and your interests. And like Kevin, our show typically goes in wild directions. We start with sports, but there's a lot of other stuff that goes on with our show, and our Tolos have told us, look, man, I'm here for the ride. You guys, I like you guys. I'm here for the journey of what y'all are doing. And from Pumpkins to Zwan to being a wrestling promoter, all the things that you've kind of done, do you find pushback on doing different things? And you're just like, well, that's what I want to do. Or you say, do most of your fans kind of stick with you? And at what point in your career did you see, oh, they're following me wherever I go with this thing?
Sure. My fans, when I first got into wrestling about 10 years ago, they thought I was totally crazy. And there were plenty of memes and lots of making fun of me and lots of fans scratching their head when they were standing in front of me saying, we just don't get it.
Yeah.
10 years later, now owning this great brand and really bringing it back, having 3 television deals behind the brand at this point, and of course, the debut of the new reality show today, Adventures in Carneyland, which really shows my life in wrestling kind of behind the scenes. My fans have sort of, they either accept it and they respect it, generally speaking, or they've really grown to love what we're doing, which is cool. The mainstream fan, who it doesn't follow what the Pumpkins do all the time, but let's say they're a 90s fan or something, they're just waking up going, what the hell is he doing? So now I'm starting this process all over again. Why are you in wrestling? And I just say the same thing over and over again. If you achieved as much success as I have in life and you don't do with your life what you want to do, then you really don't have any courage and you don't have any spine. I'm a person who's always tried to do what he wants to do. I'm not trying to make anyone angry. I just want to live my life. And I love professional wrestling, and I found my place in it. And it's a very tough gig. I'm not going to sit here and say it's easy and it's all a bed of roses. It's been a very tough journey for me in professional wrestling, but I'm very proud of what I've accomplished. And that's it. I'm not asking music fans to follow me, and I'm not asking wrestling fans to follow me to the other side. But those that do generally come back and say, we enjoy and we appreciate what you're doing and why you're doing it, even if we're not wrestling fans per se. And that's sort of my argument. We're trying to make a product that everybody can understand and appreciate. I hate when music becomes too kind of indie, insular, hipstery. That bothers me. That's always bothered me. And I feel the same way about wrestling.
Now, on the music front, I remember very specifically, obviously, plethora of hits off the double album, huge album itself. I got Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness for free from a friend because she had broken up with her boyfriend and he loved y'all and she just couldn't bear to have that album around anymore. 2 questions. How happy are you for me that I got that album for free? And also, how cool is it that you can generate that kind of emotion? Like, obviously, you'd love it if all the emotion was great and everything, but that you could generate that kind of emotion from people.
It's something I've always seemed to be able to do. When I was a little kid, people always had these volatile reactions to me, good and bad, and that's followed me throughout my life. People think I do it on purpose. I honestly don't. I'm just the way I am. I come from a very strange family. Both my mother and my father were very eccentric people. And my father was a musician. So I grew up in music. And so for me, being different in the world isn't a big deal. But of course, most people are pretty normal. You know, we don't wear khaki in our family, for example. You know what I mean? We pretty much stick to black in terms of our dress code. But it's not a position of trying to be provocative. It's just a position of, hey, we're just doing what we do. But yeah, I'm always surprised how much emotion the music generates, especially when we go to foreign countries where people predominantly don't speak English, and you see the level of emotion that the band engenders. It's always really humbling.
My dad was a carpenter. When he got home, he didn't want to build shelves. And I've always been curious with a musician. Do you feel like when you pick a guitar up, I'm working right now, or are you playing something for fun, or are you playing just for yourself? What's that feeling when you grab a guitar now?
I love playing music. My father died a couple years ago, and I had this revelation not too long ago that maybe if I didn't want to impress my father so bad when I was young, I'm not sure I would have ever picked up the guitar. I think I picked up the guitar because I wanted him to notice me. So my relationship with the guitar has always been kind of interesting. I really think of myself first as a songwriter, and then the guitar player in me is sort of in the corner somewhere. But I love playing music. And listen, I'm 57 years old. I've been playing music now for almost 40-something years, 42 years. I'm very, very honestly touched and in awe and humbled by the fact that there's so many people around the world that still love what we do, whether they like the old stuff or the new stuff or both, or it's awesome. And I brought a lot of that love and passion to the NWA, if that makes any sense. It's like I found something else I loved outside of the band that allows me to sort of put other, like the toy tinkerer guy in the attic part of me, into a different spot. And I'm trying to bring that same love to something that I love in wrestling. And it's just always about just living your dream, just try to make your dreams come true. Nothing wrong if you fail. What's the old saying? It's better to have tried and have lost, or loved and lost and never loved at all. Well, that's how I feel about my life. I've always tried. I certainly embarrassed myself plenty of times.
We all have. Yep.
But I mean, that's the point of being an alternative musician, right? I'm not here to be a perfect airbrushed person. I always found that kind of boring. Give me Lemmy or Iggy Pop or David Bowie on cocaine any day of the week. You know what I mean?
Man, that's a fascinating collection of looks among those people. I definitely get what you're saying, for sure.
Billy, my co-host, we met 18 years ago, yes. And he had a young boy back then, and I've watched their relationship grow over time, and wrestling was a big part of it. I literally watched these two go nuts watching wrestling, going to events together. They bonded over it. And now Noah's 1 year old. He has another child at 1 year old, 18 years apart. It's crazy.
It's good thinking by me.
But he's now, Noah will run at him and he'll stick his foot up and he'll take a bump and everything. And they're bonding over wrestling. You bond with your kids over wrestling? Is this something that y'all do together?
My kids are interesting in that they don't necessarily love wrestling, but they love the wrestlers because they know them personally.
Oh.
So they'll come to the shows and they just want to hang out with the wrestlers. You know what I mean? It's like, and so when they watch wrestling, they don't watch wrestling like I did as a kid. They watch wrestling like, oh, there's my friend Joe. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, awesome. Why is Joe acting so crazy? And I'm like, honey, Joe's working right now. You know what I mean? No, but why is Joe being so mean?
That's so awesome.
And it's also got to be a wild thing too, to be the kid and just be like, oh yeah, that is my friend, and just kind of know like that, not really have that same mentality as everybody else.
EC3, awesome.
Well,
not
of course,
big deal.
Everybody knows Tyrus, the former NWA World's Heavyweight Champion, and Tyrus 6'7", about 370, and my son was terrified to meet Tyrus. And I literally just took my son and pushed him forward because I've known Tyrus for about 10 years now. And I pushed him forward and I said, Tyrus, this is Augustus, and Augustus is Tyrus. My son loves Tyrus now. Tyrus is like his favorite person in the world. So it's amazing to watch this behemoth of a man, right, with this little kid. And they're, like buddies, because Tyrus is his buddy. He doesn't see him as the wrestler or the guy on Fox. He sees him as his buddy.
Do you ever get in political conversations with him? Since you mentioned he's on Fox, I was kind of curious. It maybe felt like y'all didn't always see eye to eye on things.
I've learned my lesson. I try to stay out of politics.
Fair. Yeah. I'll ask you a different question then. I'm sure you get this all the time. A lot of requests for it. They wanted to know if you have a favorite song or a favorite specific Smashing Pumpkins song or anything, especially since y'all are coming into town September 11th, if there's one for you.
That's a tough one, I always say I'm lucky that I've written some songs that I really like, 1979 comes to mind. Tonight Tonight is a song that I really love. But I love some of the obscure ones too that fans don't necessarily know. So I think I'm up about 400 songs at this point, having written the years, which is pretty wild, and still going. We're just actually finishing right now a new rock record to follow up the last one, which was a triple album. This is straight ahead rock record. So I think Old School Pumpkins fans are going to really like the new record we're working on.
Yeah, congratulations on the announcement of the new guitarist too. That was that's pretty awesome to see.
Yeah, Kiki Wong. We're really going to be have a good time with Kiki. She's a great person.
For whatever it's worth, I always really liked y'all's version of Landslide as well. I know there's a whole bunch of songs that you wrote. I always thought y'all's version of that was quality.
Do you know the story behind that?
I would like to hear it right now.
Okay, the 60-second version of the story. So we were going to play a BBC session, a John Peel type session. So usually, you play 4 songs and you only have a real short amount of time, 4 hours to record 4 songs. And so I was on the phone with Courtney Love, and she said you should pick a cover because they like covers over there at the BBC. So I was digging through my albums. I found this song called Landslide, which was never a hit by Fleetwood Mac. We got to the end of the session. There was only 20 minutes left, and they're a union BBC. So it's a hard out. Like when they get to the 4-hour mark, they shut everything off. Like the power goes off. So I go to record the song. The guy goes, "You don't have enough time," but with a bad English accent. "You don't have enough time, mate." And I said, I can do it. I recorded one take of the guitar, one note, mistakes and all. I just recorded the guitar. I said, "Roll the tape back to this spot." I recorded the solo. I sang the song twice. I listened to the vocal while the clock was still running. And I said, "Take the first half of this vocal and the second half of this vocal and put them together." And I walked out the door with like 1 minute remaining. And that's the version.
Wow.
That's a killer story too, man.
That is incredible. We appreciate your time. I know you got a busy schedule. We could talk forever.
I could.
But go to nationalwrestlingalliance.com if you want to check out the schedule. The Crockett Cup will be in Forney on Saturday, and then the Smashing Pumpkins will be back around here September 11th at Globe Life Field, and that will be a big event because I know Green Day is going to be there, Rancid is going to be there, the Linda Lindas. So a lot of stuff happening. You'll be back around the Metroplex quite a bit.
Yeah, I love it. Like I said, I love coming down there. Come see us Saturday. You'll have a lot of fun, I guarantee. Bring the whole family. It's a great event.
Sounds awesome.
There you go. Did that live up to your expectations and your hopes and dreams?
Yes, it did. Yeah, that was awesome.
Well, to quote Corey, good job. Good job, Billy Corgan. There you go, ladies and gentlemen.